Caesar roared loudly. Deer were frightened and ran wildly in all directions. Second-in-command Koba led the troops to intercept in the front. Even though some apes were knocked over during the process, it did not affect the direction of the deer herd at all. Caesar took the weapon from Koba and swung it forward. The deer fell instantly. Then Caesar took the weapon and came down to harvest the prey with his son, but unexpectedly found the bear's paw print again. He asked his son to stay in place and wait, but his rebellious son would not listen. He walked towards the prey with a spear in hand, thinking it would be an easy catch, but he was suddenly slapped away by the bear. Caesar saw this and immediately pounced over to protect his son and engage in a battle with the bear, but his weapon was knocked away. He immediately called for Koba, who was commanding the battlefield, and Koba quickly came to the rescue with a spear in hand. Seeing the General Koba coming to help, Caesar stood up and roared at the bear to attract the bear's attention. Just then, Koba swooped down with the spear from above and struck the bear directly, successfully saving the two. Afterward, Caesar thanked Koba and then patiently taught his son a lesson, but his rebellious son would not listen to any instruction. Feeling indignant, he took the spear and turned to leave. These apes not only had high intelligence but also their own civilization and order. They built a living place near the water source using wood and lived there for more than 10 years under Caesar's leadership. They even had Maurice open a school to teach knowledge. The reason they were so smart was that humans had invented a drug to treat dementia 10 years ago, and their experimental subjects were apes. The apes who inhaled the drug became as intelligent as humans, but the drug was deadly contagious to humans. During the experiment on the apes, one staff member accidentally leaked the drug and infected the neighbor who was a pilot. This led to the virus spreading worldwide, which almost led to the extinction of humans. Only a few humans with antibodies survived, and they managed to live in this abandoned base for 10 years. During these 10 years, Caesar had already had a second child. Maurice happily congratulated Caesar on the new arrival, and Caesar couldn't help but sigh that they had been together for 10 years. Maurice asked Caesar if he still missed humans, but they hadn't seen any since the battle on the bridge, and he didn't know if they were still around. The next day, Caesar's son Blue Eyes and Rocket's son Ash Gray went fishing by the river, but on their way back, they encountered humans. Both sides were stunned for a moment, and the man immediately pulled out a gun. With a loud bang, Ash Gray fell to the ground. When Caesar heard the gunshot at this moment, he immediately came out and gathered the apes, arriving at the battlefield the next second, surrounding the humans. The man, seeing the strength and number of apes, quickly apologized and promptly ordered his companion to put down the gun and surrender. Once the humans left, Maurice found a backpack, and Caesar immediately ordered Koba to track the humans. Finding that they were living in the abandoned building, Koba, who harbored deep hatred towards humans, suggested striking first and incited Rocket to avenge Ash Gray. Caesar stated that launching a war would waste decades of effort and result in countless deaths and injuries among the apes, but Koba insisted that showing strength was necessary to avoid being bullied. After contemplating, Caesar agreed to the request. The next morning, Caesar gathered all the ape species and marched towards the city. The humans panicked upon seeing the apes and quickly armed themselves on a high his war horse, leading his tribe into human territory.
Apes! Do not want war, but will fight if we must.
And then he had his son return the found backpack to them.
Ape! Home! Human! Soul!
After drawing a clear line with humans, Caesar led his army to leave. At this point, everyone in the city became extremely panicked. They were afraid of a strong attack from the apes. The mayor immediately picked up a megaphone to pacify the people. But this had no effect on the humans who were facing depleted food and electricity. With the lack of electricity, they couldn't communicate with the outside world, and the only operational power station was near the ape territory. So the mayor prepared to launch a strong attack to eliminate the ape species. But Maurice, who had met Caesar, believed negotiations were the best choice. So the next day, he drove into the deep forest, bid farewell to everyone and went up the mountain alone to find Caesar for negotiations. As he went deeper, he came to the ape territory, and soon he was brought before Caesar by the gorillas. Maurice immediately expressed that he meant no offense, and explained that humans would soon be unable to survive. Only by fixing the power station could they survive and reproduce. Koba, the second in command, strongly believed that humans could not be trusted and should be wiped out. To verify whether humans were lying to the apes, Caesar followed him to an abandoned power station. He tried to explain that humans really needed energy and said that fixing these facilities could start it up.
Is any of this making any sense to you?
Having grown up in a human household, Caesar naturally understood the importance of electricity. The kind-hearted Caesar eventually chose to trust humans, agreeing to let them go up the mountain to build the power station. The only requirement was that humans must surrender all their weapons. But Koba, who hated humans, was still skeptical. He told Caesar that giving humans electricity would make them more dangerous, and questioned why Caesar wanted to help them. Caesar explained that humans had no other options. If they were driven away, they would definitely come back to attack for resources. And even if Koba believed humans to be bad, they would harm apes whether successful or not. Seeing Caesar sticking to his position, Koba had no choice but to lower his head. The next morning, Caesar went to the riverside for monitoring, but he did not see Koba, the second in command. Maurice told Caesar that Koba went out sulking to hunt. Unbeknownst to Caesar, Koba took this opportunity to go to human land and discovered that humans were checking their guns to understand the number of firearms. Koba went into a warehouse but was discovered by humans. He stared fiercely at the men, but another person came in. Thinking quickly in the crisis, he stuck out his tongue to relax the humans, and the two men thought he was a dumb monkey and let him leave. Meanwhile, on the other side, the reservoir was filled with debris from years of disuse, and they could only enter to place explosives. But a sudden explosion buried several people inside. Caesar immediately brought his people to the rescue, and then brought them to the riverside to rest. But Caesar's youngest son found a gun, and when he was in danger, with a blue furious look in his eyes, a man aimed a gun at him. Seeing this, Caesar immediately knocked down the man and took the gun.
Don't, Caesar, no! No!
But even though humans violated the rules, the kind-hearted Caesar still did not harm them, just threw the guns into the river and drove them back to the human territory. But just as Caesar returned home, he heard news of his wife falling ill. He rushed to the room. The medical staff told him that his wife had caught a cold after childbirth. At the same time, Maurice thought that going back would only be a wasted effort, so he took the risk and went up the mountain to find Caesar again. But when he saw his wife on the brink of death,
I have medicine.
there was nothing Caesar could do but accept help. To show his gratitude, Caesar agreed to give them one more day to build, and sent out apes to help with the repairs. At this time, Koba had returned after gathering intelligence. He told Caesar's son that humans were very dangerous, and they needed to find Caesar promptly. When he came to the power plant and saw that the apes were helping with the construction, he couldn't take it anymore. He pushed down the child.
Where's Caesar? One Caesar! Caesar! Where's Caesar? One Caesar! Caesar!
Koba rushed to see Caesar in a hurry, furious because he had found out that humans in the city were stockpiling weapons, enough to destroy the entire human habitat.
Humans, attack your sons. You let them stay. Caesar loved humans more than apes. More than your sons.
Caesar, unaware of the weapons, became instantly angry when he saw Koba challenging him. He tackled him to the ground and then started pounding on Koba's face, not allowing his authority as a leader to be undermined. He then grabbed Koba and threw him harshly to the ground, leaving Koba's face covered in bruises and blood. It was only then that Koba regained his senses, as there was a rule among humans not to harm each other. Seeing that no one else understood him, Koba reached out to Caesar for forgiveness, and when Caesar agreed, he immediately left. Back at his place, Koba's confidant asked why he didn't tell Caesar about the weapons. Feeling disillusioned, Koba thought that Caesar wouldn't believe him anymore. The next day, Koba found two human weapons inspectors and pretended to be foolish to gain their trust. When the men relaxed, Koba took one of their guns and shot one of them in the back, then quickly returned to the ape tribe. On the other side, Caesar had helped humans fix the electricity, and his wife had recovered with the help of humans. But as they celebrated, Caesar suddenly saw Koba below, aiming a gun at him. A gunshot hit Caesar's shoulder, leaving him in disbelief as he fell heavily off a cliff. The tribe of apes fell into chaos, and Koba's followers started a fire while Koba, seizing the opportunity, took the gun and shouted for the
Humans, kill Caesar! Unable! Apes must attack human city! Come, fight for Caesar!
tribe to attack humans. With Koba leading them, the apes quickly reached the armory and armed themselves. Meanwhile, humans were still celebrating the arrival of electricity, unaware of the impending danger, until the apes rode in on horses and approached the city. The humans hurriedly climbed up the high platform to defend themselves, with the mayor picking up a horn to boost their morale. As they regained their confidence, they awaited the arrival of the ape tribe. At that moment, Koba was leading all the apes swiftly towards the city, and a fierce battle was about to unfold between